I want everybody to listen to me very, very, very closely. Do not buy or sell a home in Metro Atlanta this year without knowing this information. And you can't say that I didn't warn you, because if you do and you don't know this information, it could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars or thousands of dollars at the very least. So make sure you pay attention to what I'm about to say next. What is up, everybody? It is Mark Jenkins, a trusted realtor. Been helping people buy and sell real estate in Metro Atlanta for over half a decade now. I know some of you haven't heard from me in a while, but that's because I had a baby and had a lot of other things going on in my personal life. But guess what? Now I'm back with some hard-hitting information that you need to know, not only just about Metro Atlanta real estate, but in terms of the real estate market in general, because so much has changed over the last few years and there are so few voices out here actually telling people the truth and giving people the data. So if you enjoy getting exclusive information that could change your life, especially when you're spending a couple of $100,000 buying or selling real estate, please be sure to subscribe. We are on the grind to get 1,000 subscribers. I want you to be the first group of people who gets the best real estate information that you can find on YouTube about the Metro Atlanta real estate market. So go ahead, like, share, subscribe, and let's jump into it. So today we're going to talk about exactly what's going on in Metro Atlanta real estate headed into 2023 by looking at the data. So me as a realtor, I study the data every single day. The reason why data is so important is because it gives me an outlook on exactly what has happened. And also with the data, I can take a look at what might happen. This helps me keep my clients in a better position, and that's whether they're buying or selling real estate. But the data is usually so hard to find for the average person that you probably even watching this video, you probably didn't even know these numbers, but I'm telling you, they're gonna have a huge impact on what happens this year. Now, moving forward in this video, we're going to be talking about data from the Atlanta metropolitan statistical area. So we're not talking about just the city of Atlanta. We're not talking about Fulton County. These numbers that we're going to talk about cover the 29 county Metro Atlanta region. The reason why we take a look at the whole region is because if you're not from Atlanta, you probably don't know that most people who live in Atlanta actually don't live in the city of Atlanta and live in one of the neighboring counties. So that's why we're going to take a look at the whole area so you can get a full picture of what's going on in the real estate market. Now, the year-over-year numbers that we're going to talk about in this video are coming from December 2022, looking all the way back to December 2021. Year-over-year numbers are extremely important when you're looking at data because it tells you what happened 1 year later in the same month. So we're not looking at month over month, what happened in November or September or October, anything like that. We're looking at 1 year's worth of time, what has changed. And like I said before, that's gonna give you a much better idea on what's going on with the local real estate market here in Metro Atlanta. We're going to go ahead and jump into the data here. And the first piece of data that we have to look at is, I don't know, maybe some people would consider this the most important piece of data, but it's the total amount of residential units sold. And you're not gonna believe how much this has changed or how much it has dropped. But literally from December 21 to December 22, the amount of residential units sold in Metro Atlanta has fell by 34%. 34%. That is a huge number. That is one of the largest numbers that we've seen in terms of year-over-year declines for the amount of homes that have been sold. Now, what does that mean? Well, it just means that demand has dried up significantly. It seems like over the last couple of years, everybody we knew was buying a home, or your cousin or your coworker, or maybe your neighbor was buying a second home. It seemed like the home buying frenzy here in Metro Atlanta would never stop. But as we see with the numbers, we're down 1/3, 34% less homes sold in December 2022 compared to December 2021. Where is the demand going? Why aren't people buying homes anymore? Well, we're going to talk about that later on in the video, but be sure to comment below. Have you noticed the amount of homes being sold going down? Because It's a pretty big decrease. In December 2021, there was a little bit more than 8,000 homes sold for the entire month. But in December 2022, those numbers plummeted, almost 3,000 less homes, with only 5,400 homes sold for the metropolitan statistical area. And I know it probably seems like, hey, you know what? It's December, it's a really bad month. People were shopping for Christmas or the holidays or whatever. But as you can see on the chart, going all the way back to 2019, this is one of the lowest months that we've seen in the amount of homes sold. The other previous lows were January of 2022, more homes sold with almost 6,000. And then you have January of 2020, right before you know what started, and still more homes sold. To find a lower month in the amount of homes sold, you have to go all the way back to 2019, January of 2019 at that, when there were only almost 5,000 homes sold for all of the metro Atlanta area. Now, just like anything else, real estate is based on supply and demand. Now, if demand has decreased so much, could prices be soon following? Well, we'll talk about what prices are doing, but the main reason why demand has decreased so much for these residential homes is because of interest rates. Over the last year or so, interest rates have doubled. They have risen almost faster than any time in recorded history, going from a record low of around 2.5% back in 2020 to where they are today, to where earlier, a couple of months ago, they crested 7%, but now they're back down to about 6%. But mortgage interest rates are the main reason why the demand is slowing. Listen, people buy houses just like they buy anything else. What is the monthly payment going to be? And if the monthly payment is going to be higher, that either means that people can buy less of a house or people just don't buy a house altogether. And that is what you're seeing with these numbers. These higher interest rates are literally killing not only the demand, but also the incentive to buy. Because what happens when you see those commercials from the car companies or anyone else that has anything to do with credit or loans, right? The number one way that they get you in is saying, hey, we've got low interest rate. We've got 0% APR, which would be great if they had in real estate. Well, I guess, I don't know. Comment below. Let me know if you would like a 0% APR mortgage. I guess it would be great for the person who has a mortgage, but the person who doesn't is going to see home prices shoot through the roof. But back to the point. The reason why you see those advertisers, those banks, car dealerships advertising low interest rates is because that's what incentivizes people to buy. When you have higher interest rates like we do right now, there's really no incentive to buy. And on this channel, we're one of the few people who actually have the background with investing in the stock market that we can actually show you this information. And it's actually so much more interesting to see. So if you take a look at your screen, and we look at what interest rates were at the beginning of December 2021, you're like right at about 3.1%. But let's see how much they have actually increased till right now. All right. So right now, interest rates are hovering right around 6.15, 6.13. And you see on your screen that interest rates have gone up 97%. So they pretty much have doubled in less than 13, 14 months. So this is the main reason why the demand has decreased so much. And you got to understand this if you're planning on buying a home or selling a home here in Metro Atlanta. With interest rates doubling like they have in the past 13 to 14 months, it's going to be a lot more expensive for you to buy a house. And when you're selling a house, it's going to be a lot more difficult to find buyers who want to pay the price that you want, because it's just so much more expensive to afford a home and pay for a mortgage right now than it was just a couple of months ago. And just to give you an example, we're going to take a look at our mortgage calculator on our website. Listen, if you need tools to be able to find out how much you can afford, what your mortgage is going to be, I feel like we have the best tools available on our website. So you can go to atrustedrealtor.com, use the mortgage calculator, and find out exactly what your payments are going to be. But if we take a look at this example here, we're just going to say somebody's using an FHA mortgage. They're putting down 3.5%. All right. Now this home is $360,000 that we're looking at. And we're going to look at the monthly payment from what it was back in December 2021 till now. And in December 2021, at 3.1% interest, The payment for this house, including taxes and insurance, came up to $1,877 per month. $1,877 for this $360,000 home back in December of 2021. Now let's take a look at how much it would cost that same person to buy this same home right now. Now, at 6.13% interest, this same house is gonna cost $2,500 per month. Now, do you understand why demand is down? Because the same house that you could have bought in 2021, now if you try to buy it, it's gonna be not only $600 per month more expensive, but I like to look at over the course of a year. So you're talking about $7,200 extra dollars that this home buyer is gonna have to pay for this house now compared to 2021. That is the number one reason why you're seeing that demand for houses is dropping so much. It just costs so much more to buy a house than it used to. And these are the numbers that you gotta know if you're planning on buying or selling a home. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're probably saying, well, guess what, Mark? The home sales prices are going up. And you know what? You are right, because the median sales price year over year has gone up 4.3%. Although the number of sales are down tremendously, we still do have an increase in the median sales price going up 4.3%. Now to right at about $360,000. So now you're probably thinking that housing prices won't come down at all. But take a second. Let's look at the data a little bit more in depth. So when we come into Georgia MLS and take a look at the actual numbers, yes, year over year, median sales price did go up 4%. However, over the last couple of months, they've been going down every single month. As you can see, the peak median sales price over the last 6 months, or really all time at this point, was $395,000 in June. So if we went from $395 all the way down to $360, let's see, that's at least, I don't know, almost a 10% decrease in home sales prices that we've already seen in just a couple of months. So keep in mind, if you're buying a house, you're already buying on a slippery slope in terms of what home prices are doing. They've been going down the last 6 months. Nobody's talking about the fact that home sales are down 10% over the last couple of months because they're not looking at the data, or even if they are looking at the data, they're not sharing that information with you. And this is the same thing that's gotten a lot of you in trouble who have purchased homes over the last year to 18 months. You're working with the realtor and they're recommending that you go 10 or 15% or $30,000 over the ask price just to beat out offers. I've even heard of realtors recommending that their clients either waive the appraisal or they just pay over the appraised price. Listen, there's no easy way to put this, but you're underwater right now. If you purchase a home, especially if you purchased a home and went over the ask and appraisal price, you're underwater right now, especially depending on how much that you put down. But if you purchase a home using FHA, putting 3.5% down, you're underwater. And you just saw that on the chart. With home prices being down 10% or approximately 10%, if you only put down 3.5%, you're at least 6.5% underwater. And that doesn't even account for realtor fees, even if you wanted to sell the house. So guess what? You can't sell the house unless you do a short sale, and you can't refinance the house to get lower payments when mortgage rates do come down in the future, because you owe more than what the house is actually worth. And that is all because nobody took the time to give you the information, break down the numbers so you can understand what is going on. And on the other side, if you're selling a house or if you're planning on selling a house, you see what's going on with the numbers. Every single month that goes by, your house is worth less. So the longer you take to get the house on the market, to get it ready, to do the repairs, all the stuff that you need to do, you're only just looking at a lower sales price. Now, I'm sure everybody remembers 2008, right? I mean, how could you forget the Great Recession, right? The Great Housing Crash, right? The Great Housing Bubble, all those names that they called it. And let's take a look at the Case-Shiller Index, which is essentially just an index of home prices. I'm not going to go too far into what it means. You can Google it yourself or just watch another video in the future, and I'm sure I'll probably cover exactly what it is. But remember back in 2008, they were telling everybody, oh, you know what? You know, housing prices got too high. We were in a bubble. and there had to be a correction. So while looking at the Case-Shiller Index, we see that in August 2007, you had the peak of the Case-Shiller Index for that time, which was about 136. Now, keep in mind, this is not how much homes cost. It's just an index number, 136. And then what did you see? You saw housing prices go down all the way down to 82-ish on the Case-Shiller Index in a little bit over 4 years or so. And they call that a housing bubble. But if you look at the chart now, where we got to the last peak, which was 232. So we went from 134 range to almost 232, which is almost double. And people don't think that we're in a housing bubble. I don't know. Comment below. Let me know what you think. Are we in a housing bubble? Or did we just get really high, we'll go low and then go higher? Let me know what you think. Now, the third leg in the data that we're looking at today is going to be the amount of inventory that we have. We're going to take a look at active residential listings and also months of residential inventory supply. Those numbers are really going to give you a great idea of what could possibly happen this year. Because like I talked about before, real estate is all about supply and demand. So we've already covered the drastic reduction of demand. Now let's talk about supply. And boy, oh boy, do we have a lot more supply now than we had back in December 2021. A whole lot more. In fact, 76% more homes available for sale right now than it was back in December 2021. We have an 82% increase in the available months worth of inventory. Right now, clocking at about 2.2 months, when back in December 2021, we just had 1 month worth of inventory. So, pop quiz. We talked about supply and demand. If supply has increased and demand has decreased, then what happens with the price? Come on. Know you can figure it out. Comment below what the answer is. And once we jump right back into the data, you can see it once again. Back in Georgia MLS, listen. The only reason why home prices went up the way that they did over the past couple of years is when people started coughing, people stopped selling. So when they shut everything down and they said, stay at home, work from home, do whatever you got to do, but just do it in the house. People decided, you know what? We're not going to risk selling and having strangers come through our house to do showings. What did that do? It dropped the amount of homes that were available. We had the amount of homes that were available drop severely, along with interest rates dropping, which increased demand. So we had the flip-flop happen. A decrease in supply and an increase in demand, which is why we saw the parabolic rise of home prices here in Metro Atlanta. But now the opposite is about to happen. So as you see, the amount of active inventory looked like it bottomed out in April of 2021, but it came up a little bit, going up to about 9,000 in August of 2021, and then it came right back down, which is why we didn't see home prices decrease any in 2021 because inventory was just still so low. And then it finally bottomed out in March of 2022 at 6,700. And since March of 2022 to where we are right now, we went from 6,700 to almost 16,000 active listings in only a short amount of time. That isn't even a year's worth of time. So we had a huge increase in the amount of homes available. Not just people selling their homes, but you got to check out the amount of new construction that's coming to the market. And this is why I love our website, because you can literally go to our website, go to homes for sale, click on new construction homes for sale, and you're going to see the massive amount of new construction inventory that's going to be hitting the market this year and very soon. Not to mention, I know you're riding around Metro Atlanta and you see like every single place that you look, they're cutting down trees. They're preparing the land. They're laying down the foundations to build more and more and more and more and more houses. So those three areas are the reason why I say you got to know those numbers, whether you're buying or selling here in Metro Atlanta. Now, what are my thoughts on the situation? I'm going to give you my professional opinion on what I think you should do or what you could do. If you're buying a house, you got to understand that buying in this environment means that it's a very good chance that you're going to be underwater for a couple of years. There isn't really a 30-year period, which is the commitment that you're really making, most of you at least, buying a 30-year mortgage. There really isn't a 30-year period that we can point to that home prices fell. So if you're worried about your home price not actually appreciating or your investment not actually working out, you got very little to worry about there over the course of 30 years. Now, most people don't buy a house thinking to stay there 30 years, especially not right now. So if you're not set on staying in a house at least 10 years, I used to say 5 to 7, now I'm going to say 10 years because we haven't even begun to see the amount of home price changes that we're going to see with this upcoming correction or crash or whatever you want to call it. So if you're buying a home, definitely say, make sure that you find the home that you want. Research the school district, research the grocery stores around there, go to a local city council meeting, understand exactly what's coming to that area and what isn't. And then you can be pretty confident making your home purchase. And of course, since the interest rates are high, you're kind of going to be banking on that you're going to be able to refinance in the future. But then again, you can't refinance if you owe more than your house is worth. So be very careful if you're buying. And if you're selling, you need to go ahead and put the pedal to the metal, because once all this new inventory hits the market, once sellers this spring decide, you know what, this is the year that we're gonna sell, now we feel comfortable having people come by the home and do showings and all that great stuff, guess what's gonna happen? You're gonna find out that some of your neighbors are willing to take a lower price on their home than you would have ever even thought about. Once they execute a sale at that price, that's instantly going to drop your home's value. So if you're selling, you need to go ahead and get on top of things and get things going fast. Because what I predict this year is you're going to see buyers, they're going to get stingy with their money. I mean, they have to, especially with the mortgage interest rates, and sellers are going to get desperate. So let me know what you think. What do you think about these sales numbers? Are they alarming to you? Does it feel like 2008 all over again? Or do you just not even care? Are you one of those people you like, look, man, Metro Atlanta is going to become like LA. Hey, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying I'm right. We're just all looking at the data, trying to figure it out together. So be sure to like this video, comment below, let me know what you think. And please subscribe if you enjoy well thought out, well researched real estate information that could change your future. Make sure that you subscribe, because I promise, I put it on everything, that this year I'm going to drop so much valuable content that is going to help somebody make the right decision, whether they're buying or selling their next home. And of course, if you need anything from me, go to atrustedrealtor.com. You can find all the services that we provide. You can get pre-qualified. You can get a free consultation on selling your home. Anything that you need, atrustedrealtor.com. I humbly appreciate your time, and I hope you have a fabulous day. Let's have a good 2023. This is A Trusted Realtor. Deal closed. Peace.